This is my Dream FPS game, Omnipresence. It's a fast-paced movement shooter where you play as a virus that can take control of any robot. Your goal is to destroy them all. This is what the game looked like just 2 weeks ago, so, you know, I've made a little bit of progress. In this devlog, you'll see everything start coming together really nicely to resemble the game that I have in mind. I don't know about you, but this map just wasn't very fun to look at, so I got to work on making something that looks slightly better. I started off by making some concept art of what I want this storage area to look like. I went through a few iterations and I settled on this. I started to put it together in my game and, well, it looked like Battlefield 2042 on launch, so my job here was done. Sorry, I'm not a AAA developer, which means I'll have to keep working on it. I then got sidetracked and I made a logo for my Steam page. You should definitely wishlist the game because I'm doing playtests soon, along with a Discord server for all you guys who are asking for it. I made some shipping containers and I added the company's name onto them because in 100 years I'm sure they still haven't figured out a better way to transport things. I made this cool door with a texture that took me way too long, and I tried to turn on shadows for my game, but it was running at a steady 60 seconds per frame, so Incognito Cat, don't even bring up RTX. It was at this point when I realized a really cool movement thing, but I'll talk about it a little bit later. I decided that I should take a little break and finally work on the enemy model because it's been requested so much. I don't see why. I thought these cubes looked really good, but you guys wanted it. I drew this instead of doing homework and I really liked it, so I went ahead and probably closed my eyes or some because I made this. It looks like some kind of medieval helmet. I opened my eyes the second time round and I had a very good model ready. I even gave him the finest 22nd century shoes and I textured it, which really brought it to life. Let me know what you guys think about this. I then added him to the game and it worked perfectly. I started on a factory area for my game because I want there to be different areas in each facility, all with different playstyles. So I want a storage area which is very close quarters and fast paced. Then I want a factory to be longer distance, slightly more strategic, with less cover. Then an office area where you need to sneak around and not be noticed, traveling through security cameras for stealth because there's way too many enemies for you to take on at once. And then the server room where you face a lot of enemies as you try to destroy it. Also, yes, the enemies will be walking around like this for the foreseeable future because I'm not bothered to make any animations yet. XD has been asking for iced out robots for like 3 devlogs, so finally, here you go. I'll write this down in my list of Easter eggs to add and I'll come back to this later on. I then made an advertisement for the company Omnitronics and I even made a slogan which I'm way too proud of. When cutting edge won't cut it. Because they're like the industry leading company in robotics and they also control the world. Don't ask me why the adverts are up inside the facility, especially because it's full of robots anyway, but please tell me, I really need a good excuse to keep it in. I was then asked for a Trump Easter egg, so he'll be hiding in the video somewhere. Let me know if you find him. My enemies then bugged out and I realized that they can only detect you in a very narrow area, so I quickly fixed that. Quickly in game dev terms just means that I did it in one day and I had a little time left over for basic human needs. People have also been pointing out how they like that I listen to the community, so if you have any suggestions, I'm listening. Now the map was looking alright, but then I thought of my favorite level in the Titanfall 2 campaign and realized that the factory had loads of empty space to give the illusion of a larger area. So I did that and it made such a huge difference. If you look down there, you can actually see a subscribe button, which is pretty cool, right? Also, thanks for 1000 subs, I'm going to start flexing my mansion soon. Also, make sure to sub so you can tell your friends that you knew me before I got famous. I then made the slide of the CZ75 and the bolt of the MP9 go back and forth as you shoot, and I reduced the muzzle flash strength as to not hurt NSKA's eyes. Just Jose lol told me that the Omni Switch effect looks quite bland, but I didn't have time to come up with anything, so let me know in the comments if you have any ideas. A few of you guys have been asking me to explain my game a little more, so first of all I want to say thanks for being interested. So I'll go through it a little. I know some of you guys won't care, so I'll put some Subway Surfers footage at the bottom to keep your attention. It's a first-person shooter. I bet that caught you off guard. And it's centered around the main mechanic of being able to switch into different electronics such as enemies or cameras because you are a computer virus. The game is set about 100 years in the future where the company Omnitronics pretty much dominates the world and is doing a lot of horrible stuff. They can basically do whatever they want. You play as a virus that a really smart person made to try to destroy the company from the inside using their own robots. I want this to be a level-based game where you go to a lot of different countries around the world to destroy their facilities. As for the gameplay, I want this to be a very fast-paced game with smooth gunplay and good movement, but I don't want to do crazy stuff like you would see in Ultra Kill, as the focus is on the Omni Switch mechanic. I want the player to be able to upgrade the virus over time, and I'm planning boss fights and some cool Omni Switch puzzles. If you thought this sounds pretty cool, then go wishlist it, and if you didn't, let me know by subscribing. I started work on the camera that I began in my last devlog, and I made this super high-tech camera model and made you be able to switch into it, leaving your previous body deactivated until you choose a new one. Making you be able to choose a new body took about 20 years off my lifespan, but I finally had it working seamlessly, and I think this will be a really awesome addition to fights, and you can also go from camera to camera, which will be really useful for puzzles. I got rid of the filter from the last video as it was pointed out that the most high-tech company in the world in 100 years time is not going to have UFO sighting level video quality, so for now it just doesn't have a filter. I then worked on the lighting of the level a little bit more and I completely reorganized the factory area. Please let me know what you think. Before you say that it looks a little bit old for 100 years in the future, I want you to start by attacking the older, more rundown facilities that have weaker systems, and so this will probably be the look of the first factory or something. And as your virus grows stronger, you'll be able to hack yourself into the systems of stronger facilities that have more high-tech machinery and just look better. I then worked on the kick mechanic that I made a few weeks ago and I added some legs for feedback. Just make sure never to look at it from third person. I think I'm allowed to do this after seeing how Dead by Daylight makes sure your camera never clips through your player's head. Microwave asked me to add Greg. I don't know who Greg is, so I just searched up some stock images and here he is. Would you believe me if I said he was already in the video and you didn't even notice? The movement thing that I realized earlier was that I have a sphere checking if I'm on the ground, so when I'm too close to a wall I can keep jumping up, which gave me the idea to make wall bouncing for the game, which feels super good. It also for some reason brings me back to the days when I used to play Vector on my first tablet. Simpler times. But seriously, I haven't seen this done in any other FPS game. I know Apex has it, but it's not really built in, and you can't keep doing it like I can here. This also tackles the idea that Nightsea recommended, because now you can bounce off a wall and over railings, and it just looks cooler than a vault. I then made you be able to rip the antivirus out of your body, but during this time you cannot shoot, but if you pull it off, you'll be able to stay in that body forever. Banana. Lots of people were suggesting that different robots should have different movement abilities, and I love this. I just didn't have time to do it in this last devlog, but I'm definitely planning on it. People have also asked for a spotting/scan mechanic, and I think I'll add this as a reward for switching late, but not so late that your last body explodes. I know I focused on the visuals a lot in this devlog, but it was just to prepare for the playtest that I want to have in the next few weeks. I'll be focusing much more on gameplay in this next devlog, and if you really don't want to playtest my game, make sure not to subscribe so that you'll never find out when you can try it. And as always, thank you for watching.